No Nonsense Know-How here, and today's going to be a fast-paced overview on how to replace the stator in this Yamaha Rhino 660. I'll also breeze over how I determined the need of the stator, and so drop it a thumbs up or consider subscribing if it helps you. Just to tell you what happened to me, I was doing a bunch of riding one day, then went to start it, and it was dead. Luckily, I had a jump pack. By the way, if you haven't seen the part one of when I bought this Rhino, feel free to check that video out if you have some free time. But so what I did next is put your voltmeter on DC voltage and then connect it between the terminals. My next step was to locate the regulator rectifier, which is very conveniently located up top, and you go behind it, squeeze the connector, pop that out. You can see the red and black wires. Those are your charging wires after the voltage has been regulated and rectified. And the three white wires come from your stator producing AC voltage. Next thing I did was put my DVOM on AC voltage and check for AC output from the alternator. Just a quick test. Between these three wires with the engine idling, I had irregular voltage. Between two of them I had no volts, then I had like 12 volts, and then I had 20 volts. So that right there was telling me I had an issue. I put this over to just a quick test here. I'm sure there's a million other ways you can do this, but I put it on resistance now. I put it down to 200, and I went in between each of these and the negative terminal on the battery. So what you're looking for is it to stay on OL if you go in between each of these and the negative terminal or chassis ground, and you can see I have continuity between that one and between all of them. So that means the insulation is shorting, is broken down and shorted to the chassis on the stator. Didn't need to go any further once I saw that. I knew I needed a new stator. So I hopped online. I went to Ricky Stator after doing some research. It seems they make one of the best stators. I'm hoping this isn't just like a rebranded Chinese one that they slapped in the box, a white box, but put their sticker on. Who knows, but you can get one of these on eBay for 40 bucks. I decided to spend the extra money and hopefully get a better quality product. So I can let you know in the comments later down the line how she holds up. Let's see what this one reads. If we go in between chassis ground and any of these wires, we should stay OL, and we do. You might be thinking, hey, what about the regulator rectifier? And well, I jumped to the stator first, found it was bad. So if it's not charging after the new one, then we'll jump back to that. Before completely condemning the stator, I did pull my seats and engine cover off, come down to the cover. I wanted to check for any fraying wires on this harness. And then if you go down to the bottom, I unplugged this connector and also checked for any corrosion, and I rechecked the resistance in these wires. I do have some oil in there, not sure what's up with that, but no corrosion or problems. So I'm gonna tear into this now. Your first step, especially if it's covered in muck and mud, is to be, you're gonna wanna pressure wash this off, hose it off, scrub all that dirt, because you don't want any of that getting inside of the engine oil. By the way, you should order a new gasket for this. I didn't order one, and I'm gonna try to reuse the old gasket with just silicone, so we'll see how that works out. But yeah, get that cleaned up and then we can tear in. It's pretty self-explanatory really, but you have 4 10mm bolts on this plastic cover. And let me get that all off and then I'll chime back with you. To get better access on the bottom, I dropped the skid plate down by removing all the 10mm bolts. And now I'm gonna clean this up a little bit, but you can see this is our water pump. So we'll have to take those hoses off. Spraying it down with some of this super clean degreaser works pretty well. I separated the stator wires from the rest of them, tucked all these aside with a bungee cord, along with your carburetor breather hose and anything else that's in the way. You can start draining your coolant by removing this 8mm bolt and then go take the radiator cap off to break the vacuum. And also spray some rust penetrant on this steel line right here, this cooling line, because I'm gonna try to take this off the water pump here instead of the hose over there, because I'd like to, if it comes off and it's not seized, I'd like to put some grease and lubricant in there. And once that's draining, remove your other hoses. You got this one and that little guy right there, and then start zipping all the 8mm bolts off from the cover. I'm gonna try leaving the water pump intact. We'll see if we can just leave that on the cover since it's not leaking or any problems. Make sure not to lose the small copper washer on your water pump drain bolt either. Remove these two 10mm from the fan, and it looks like 3 10mm on that cover behind that. Actually 4 bolts on that cover. One of them was broken off in there. The crank bolt was a 17mm lefty-loosey standard threads, and I just used a air ratchet to zip it off. Came right off, but you might get on here with some channel locks to hold this if you only are using hand tools. Or, of course, you could hold it from the other side of the engine too, if you take that cover off. And with a little screwdriver pry behind, that slid right out. Looks good. After removing the 5mm from the lower hardline, that pulled right out, which was really nice to see because a lot of time this style fitting gets seized up. You see you got an O-ring on there too, and I'm going to make sure to clean and grease that up real good to prevent future corrosion like on the other hose where it goes in this water pump. You can see pretty darn corroded. I zipped off the rest of the 8mm bolts. Just make sure before you go banging on this that you have every single one of those 8mm bolts out. And you do have a couple pry ears, like one here and one down there, a couple other locations. So just make sure when you take this off, you're tapping it evenly and not hammering on it. You break your case, you're going to be in for a world of hurt. And of course, you do have the starter motor here, so we can assume there's going to be some starter gears behind here that you don't want to lose or misplace them or get them jammed up. This broke loose after a few taps, and of course, make sure to keep your oil pan down there because oil is going to come out and mix down with the coolant. It should be, you want to pull this straight off, like I was saying, and there should be some resistance because you have the magneto in there, or stator rotor, it might be called too. But boom, we can see the inside of it now. Oh, let me lower it down. And she doesn't look burnt up too bad. Maybe some burn marks right there, actually. We can also see that the gasket got all sorts of shredded up, so that kind of sucks to see. Should have probably ordered one of those. This is the water pump shaft, so make sure when this is going back on, obviously this has to line up with it's driven by a gear down on the bottom there, so you gotta make sure when you're putting this on that alignment is properly. And then your dowel pins too, make sure. So one stayed in the cover and the other stayed down on the engine here. It's in there loose, so you know, take that out and don't lose it. Where's that go? Up here? Yeah, there we go. When it comes to swapping in the new stator, the 8mm bolts and 4mm zipped right out. There was definitely Loctite on these though. However, these number 3 Phillips, using a hand impact like this is definitely a handy tool. So put a paper towel underneath the cover so it has, you know, good flat surface. And if you try to just crank them, they are really hard to go. But the way this thing works is you just twist it left and then you can hit it. And you see that's taking the screw out. Another technique, you could try using the mini butane torch and heating the screw from the top. That'll help transfer some heat down into the threads where the thread lock is. But yeah, I'd be lying to you if I told you these pop right out of here. Once they're cracked loose, you could try using an air ratchet. Let's see if this works. That works pretty good. I pulled the water pump off so I could clean it. It's just these two 8mm bolts and it slides right out of this hole on the case. So I cleaned all the corrosion up and greased it. You can see there's some pretty heavy pitting. I should probably just replace this. However, it's so easy to replace that in the future, you know, I'm gonna leave it on here for now, and if it leaks in the future, I'll replace it. But I did go ahead and grease up this O-ring real good too. And yeah, to scrape the gasket, you can use a razor blade, works well, but you want to be careful not to gouge the case, of course. So what I like to do is use methylene chloride. And I got some here in a jug, but this is the old paint stripper formula that they banned because you know, it's very toxic, and I think a couple kids actually died. But this stuff, well, I'll throw it on here and then show you what it does. After sitting on there for a little bit, watch how easy this comes off now. It just melts off compared to what it usually would take to get that stuff off. So make sure to use some acetone or degreaser in these holes and on the bolts before putting your Loctite on there and putting the stator on. With the cover all cleaned up, stator in place, ready for installation, I decided to leave the water pump off since it'll be easier to put that in place after the cover's mounted. And I did get a new gasket too. And also make sure to clean all the bits of gasket off your crankcase. However, the other day when I was looking at this, I noticed some major slop in this chain. And it turns out this actually drives the oil pump, which is right behind this sprocket down here. Let me get a little closer look. You can see that chain is pretty worn out and it has no tensioner at all. It's actually wearing into the case a little bit right next to my pinky right there. And so this drives two major components, your oil pump and your water pump. I'm going to be replacing this chain. I thought about adding a tensioner to it. So that's going to be a separate video, which I will plug up in the corner right here. If you want to see that, check it out. And let's move on. And we're back. Got the new chain on there. Some slop in it still, but much better. Glad I did it. So assembly is pretty much reverse of removal. You'll want to give you a couple tips though. You'll want to put the dowel pins in the case. Make sure this is all cleaned with acetone, and then slip your gasket on to the case. I'm actually going to put a little RTV, tiny smear on both sides of this because I like to do that. Some guys use the high tack and other methods, but I prefer the RTV. Looks good. When I say a smear, I mean literally the tiniest little smear on each side of the gasket. And then a little bit of RTV inside of where the grommets get pressed in. It's kind of nice that it has a dual grommet set up on it. And that should stick out like so. You're ready to bolt the cover on now. Well, that was a fail. As soon as I went to put the cover on, it actually slid the flywheel off because of the magnetic force on that. So I'm going to take this out, put it back on, and torque that down real quick so that the taper fit is locked in. I didn't do final torque on it, just snugged it down so that the flywheel's not sitting on there loose anymore. After hand starting all the bolts, tighten them down evenly in a crisscross pattern, making sure that the case seats fully. Obviously, this grommet's going to need, you're going to have to torque these down a little bit first to squeeze that grommet in, and then torque them the final spec. I'm not sure what that is offhand. For me, I'm just going guten tight. Grease up the water pump O-ring and slip that into place in the bore. Make sure the bore is nice and clean. And of course, you might have to spin it or finagle it to line this notch up with the oil pump drive gear. And then put some grease on your coolant line, slip it in, torque it, put the other cooling hose on too. Looks all good, got everything connected. You know you put the right amount of RTV if it just barely tiny amount squeezes out on it. If it goes splooging out, you put too much. Connect your wires and put the rest of the zip ties back on down there. Now, instead of putting the fan on the end of this, this big fan that was on there that's just basically blowing air to the back of the UTV, I decided to go on eBay and order a recoil pulley for it to use instead of this one for the fan. So torque on this bolt, from what I just read online, is only 40 foot-pounds, which seems about right. And I'm going to put some blue Loctite on that too. And then I can actually mount a pull start instead. So that's what I'm going to go with, and I'll let you guys know how that works for pull start in a later video, so if you want to check that out. But yeah, I just didn't see a huge need for the fan blowing air toward the rear, and I'd much rather have a spare method of starting, whether it's really hard to start it like that or not. I'd just rather have that in case of a weak battery. Plus, without the fan, Momo power, baby, right? And also make sure to put some oil or grease on this and a little grease on the seal in here before pushing it in there. By the way, this piece is off of Grizzly 660 because some of those had a pull start. I don't know if they all did or didn't, but now top your oil off and top the coolant off, and we are ready to start it. Don't forget, when you're filling the coolant, you have to remove this bleed screw, and then just make sure to burp all the air out of it and top it back off when you're all done. And with this thing fired up at idle, 14 volts, which is spec. Good to see. Job well done. Stator was bad in it, shorted the ground, and I still got to put the pull start on there. You wouldn't want to bump that with your hand. But yeah, that's it. I gotta go find some shorter bolts for that. So that's drop the video a thumbs up if it helped you. I think it ran on a little bit longer than usual. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop those down below. Check the description also in case of any links I add for parts and tools, and also if there's any updates, I always will plug that in. So if there was something that seemed weird, check the description because I might have put the answer in there. Consider subscribing. Until next time, no nonsense, no how. Thanks a lot.